Okay, so we're back with session number 2. So I don't think we're actually going to be using the mortality rates very much, which is not really going to be that big a deal. But, okay, so the next is, so if you want to calculate the prevalence, so let me just show you guys the equation to actually calculate the prevalence. So let me put insert, and let me go with equation. Okay. Okay. So the prevalence is actually equal to the incidence rate, and then you multiply that, and then it can go like that too. Multiply that by the average duration of disease. So, okay, so this is kind of the equation that we're going to rely on when we calculate the prevalence of a disease because sometimes you can't find data. Like for Dravet syndrome, I really couldn't find data on the real prevalence or on the actual prevalence of that disease. So how do we get to disease duration? That's a good question. And I'm really not sure if I'm doing this right. So let me go like this. Let me go disease duration, right? Not even. Let's go like, let me go average disease duration. Now, the data that I actually need here is very important. What is the data? Okay. So basically from one study, it found that 20% of patients died within 10 years. And now I'm going to assume that the rest can reach normal life expectancy. I'm just going to assume that, since the disease does actually get better. Now, the reason I gotta assume that is, like, there's no data on, like, the mortality, like, the actual average age that these patients can live up to. So, you're just gonna have to make a very educated guess. Okay, so the way I'm actually gonna calculate this is by using weighted averages. So, if 20% are gonna live less than 10, I'm just gonna assume 10. And then 80% are going to live up to 77, what is that average disease duration going to be? Right, let me put it right here. So that's going to be equal to, so we're just going to use weighted averages. So let me go with 0.20, and then you multiply that by 10 years, right? And then, of course, you're going to add 0.80 multiplied by the life expectancy. See, now this is where it comes from. So you get about this much. So this is going to be the average disease duration. So why don't I just put that here? My bad, guys. Okay. So, yeah, I can do it. Right, so this is going to be the average disease duration. Now, mortality rate, I don't really have anything here that's actually useful. So I'm just going to put an NA, right? And then just paste this across, Control R, Command R, and then Command I. Okay, so this is not really going to be very useful to me. But let's go to the incidence, which we did, which is 1 in 17. And then we might actually, like, a better way to do it is actually to take multiple incidences from multiple publications and kind of take the average. But I just took this one because it was like the most recent one. That's why I'm using this one. So to calculate the prevalence, this is going to actually be equal to what? It's going to be equal to the incidence, which is going to be 1 over 15,700. and then you are going to multiply that by the average disease duration, right? And of course, this is going to give you the prevalence per birth. So then you're going to multiply that, and then you're going to multiply that by the total number of births multiplied. No, you're just going to multiply it by the population. Yeah, what the fuck? Why don't I get this? Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Man, why was that hard? Okay, so the prevalence, okay, we know the incidence. So the prevalence is actually going to be equal, like we said, it's going to be equal to 1 divided by 15,700. So it's going to be one case per 15,700 births. And then, of course, you're going to multiply that by the disease duration, and then you're going to multiply that by the total number of births in the US. And that's going to give you this much, which is actually like very close to the actual number. So let's say total number of Dravet syndrome cases in USA. 1 in 15 individuals in the US. So this is another of the US population. Let me see if actually this one works. So it's actually going to be 0.0064% of the US population. Right? So let me see if this actually works. Let me go here. Let me put insert. Right. Okay, so 0.064% of the US population, right? So if I go like this, equals this, and then multiply by what's the total US population? Let me just fix this. Multiply that by total US population. And then Command R. Now, I'm pretty sure the error here let me do something else actually, just to kind of keep things consistent. Delete. Let me delete this. Of course, or we have 0.00664% of US population. Right, and then let me just go like that, which is not a big problem. But no, it was for the US population. Okay, so just to kind of be consistent, equals 0.000064, and then you multiply that by the population in the United States, and this is kind of what you get. So why did I get a different number? So here I got about 21,000. Here I got about 21,000. right? And then here I got about 16,000, which is actually a pretty significant difference, I think. And then this kind of grows. So I think I'm just going to go with this one, with the bottom one, just because I think it's kind of like two ways of actually calculating the prevalence in the United States. Let me put one more, right? And then, oh sorry, let me go like this, insert. Let me go method number 1, method number 2 for actually calculating this stuff, which is not easy. So these are kind of two different methods. So the reason I'm going to go with this one, there's multiple reasons for that, but the reason that I'm actually going to go with this one is because I might actually have introduced error from my own calculation. Like this average duration might have a few errors. So I'm not going to risk that, and I'm just going to go with this one. So method number 1, let me just put that in the note. I relied on my own my own estimate. So I'm just going to put a new note. So I'm going to put relied on my own estimate of disease duration. This can lead to a which led to the difference between method 1 and 2. Right? So that's kind of, just going to put that note in. Okay, so this is actually the equation. I don't know where I'm going to put this one. Let me put it here near the end. I like equations because they're the best. Let me do a solid fill. Let me go for equation. Let's start choosing like this red. Not even this red, I don't like it. Yeah, I think this red looks good. Okay. Okay, so since we did that for Dravet syndrome, and this is pretty much the United States, is what really matters. Okay, let me do this real quick for Japan, and then EU. So let me go like that, and then like that again, right? So Japan, prevalence, and then EU. So Japan, I think it was like 6,000. That's kind of their own estimates. Okay, finish it in the next video.